Hey guys, it's Amy and Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for June 9th in 2019. I had the date completely wrong the first time I tried this. Anyway. So, this week was kind of an odd week in reading. I still read quite a bit. I mean, not high numbers. It actually kind of tapered off really suddenly at the end of the week, which I'll explain in a minute. But, I still got a couple of things done, which I'm really glad I did. And then I started a book that I'm really excited about. I just haven't had time to read. So, I was reading, sorry, we'll show it because I'll talk about it in a minute. But I was reading Milkman when, over the weekend. And then my mom came and we hung out a lot and I didn't read a whole lot. Anyway, so, but I'll get to this one in a second. But I did stop reading Milkman on Monday night when Wolfe Rain dropped on my Kindle. I admit this, that as soon as anything Nilling usually, especially a paranormal series, I usually read them immediately. And I did. I couldn't. Milkman was, it was good, but I just meant I had to switch. So I read this over, I read a little bit on Monday night after 9 when it dropped on my Kindle, and I stayed up to read the first couple chapters. And then I read it all day Tuesday. Maybe a little too much of it at work, but that's fine, right? Anyway, I loved this. This is book 18. I had the wrong number last week. This is book 18 in the Side Changeling series. It's book 3 in the second season of it. I know everybody says you could start in the second season, but I just feel like you miss so much if you don't start from the beginning. But that is just me. I'm a completist in my series and reading them in order that they come out and that kind of thing. But I loved this book. It was so much everything I like about Nalini Singh. Her world building is awesome, and it furthers her overarching series, which also giving us a new romantic couple to follow. And it was just enjoyable. I love these books. Again, it has to do with Sais, who are like people who have very psychic abilities, and then there are the changelings, which are, you know, packs of different animals, people who turned into animals, you know, like shifters, and then there are the normal humans. And I just love the way this triangle of power and how things are shifting because of what happened in the first 15 books and now into book number 18. And I love the way it's just a great series overall. I think it gets better as it goes. Again, there are certain books that are my favorite couples, but I love that, like in this book, we get little glimpses of some of my favorite couples because they're related to what's going on in the world. It's just, it's a great series. Anyway, I'm gushing because I loved this book. Clearly I gave it a 5. No doubt. There was no doubt. But just so you know, I am trying to do the summer romance bingo that Sarah at Steeped in Books does. And I did print off a card, so I'm not sure I'm going to use the card or I'm going to use a blank one because I don't know how much romance I'll read this summer. I'm hoping to get to a lot of historical fictions that have some romantic elements in it, but we'll see. But this is my first one on there because it actually has on here, you know, subgenre paranormal romance. So I got one box checked off already. Yay! Anyway, if you guys are looking for a really long series, but I think they're really quick reads. I really enjoy this. I love her dialogue. I liked her world building. I love her characters. Nalini Singh. And that series is just phenomenal. Anyway, there's my gush. I love that book. Anyway, I can't wait to reread it. Like, I'm already like, okay, how long can I wait until I can reread it? So I'm going to wait till, give myself a month or two, and then I'll let myself reread it. Because I always buy the Kindle versions of that because it comes out in hardback. And then I'll buy the paperback, and then I'll read the paperback over and over. But I have the ebook in case I'm stuck somewhere. I have like the last 5 in ebook, I think. And there have been times when I was reading a book at work and I hated whatever I was reading, and then I would pull up one of those to reread, and it was lucky. It was, you know, I could just pull it up an ebook. But I buy ebooks because it takes forever for me to get that book from the library. So I really want to read the book when it comes out, like I did this time. And then then I'll buy a paperback. I don't need hardbacks of those because anyway. It just, I just love that book. So anyway, back to Milkman by Anna Burns. So, I finished this, what day did I finish this? I finished this Thursday. So it did take me a week to read this because I started it last Friday. I am so glad that I took the chance on this and just got it from my library and tried it. I was a little, I don't know what I want to say, upset, but I didn't like hearing that some people were saying it was hard to read. You know, like, I don't know. I felt I didn't like hearing that about a book that I'm like, I hadn't read. So I thought, well, you know, I kind of want to see what I think, you know, because I want to see if I'm one of those people who thought it would be a hard to read book. And what I discovered, it's really just the stylistic way of the tangents and things that the main character's telling the story kind of in retrospect. I'm saying, you know, this is happening during this time because it's in the 1970s in North Ireland and the Troubles and how the community is dealing with all these things that are kind of put on them and how they have to kind of, you know, be, you know, together and yet hide what they're really thinking and feeling sometimes. And I thought it was really well done in that. I think, I get why she chose not to name people, she used like, again, the Milkman that's his what people call him. She's middle sister because of her, she has like 6 sisters, 3 older and 3 younger. So she's middle sister. And, you know, then she talks about her 3rd brother-in-law or their 1st brother. And her maybe boyfriend. I get why it was, and again, it does take you a little bit to get like into that, except the fact that when I started reading it, I fell into her narrative so quickly. So in a lot of ways, this did a lot of things that I was very impressed with, and I'm really glad I read this, and I can see why this has been nominated and won awards like the Man Booker. And I really think it is a well-written book overall. Now, that said, I did not give this a high rating, mostly because it did do a few things that I find super irritating. Again, it depends on how you read it. The first page gives away some of the stuff that happens near the end, and I'm like, why I don't like when you tell me what's going to happen. I've never been that kind of reader or writer. I don't like being told something that's coming. Like I want to be on the journey with the narrator, especially when it's a first person. And again, first person usually can be a close narrative, which is you're in time with them, or it could be where they're looking back retro and telling you a story from years ago, which is pretty much what this has done. And I knew that pretty quickly into the story. I just don't personally like that. I'd rather be with the main character through the whole thing and learn things when they do, not know ahead of time what's going to happen. I don't know. For me, it ruins some of the fun, I guess, to me. Or to the discovery of the story. So that's just my own problem with that. But the real reason, again, foreshadowing's never been my favorite thing, like that. So, so a little thing about the stylistic thing. I also don't like when the same person talks, or 2 people talk in the same paragraph. I've always been, this thing has monster paragraphs. Like, I've never seen such long paragraphs, like, page upon page kind of thing. I mean, they're like a page or page and a half of a paragraph. And I'm like, you know, I mean, I can read it. It's harder to pick this book up and down. This is definitely a book where you need to sit down and just read it. I found better success and getting deeper into it when I had the TV off, when I had nothing going on and just quiet and just read. And it's not a book you can pick up and put down, like I do a lot of piecemeal reading where I read on commercials, or I read between watching videos on BookTube, or on my 10-minute breaks at work. You know, this one was much harder to read in that kind of a situation. But if I had, you know, more time, it was easier and I got more out of it. So that's kind of, those things are all little things, and they wouldn't have really marked off really my reading. Except I have to say that there's a point in here where, did I write it down here? No, but I marked it. There are 20 pages where 2 major things happen that literally made me yell at this book. I don't know what to say. One of them, the first one was the main character, you know, I mean, she's having a fight with somebody. I'm not going to say what, but, you know, if you've gotten far, it's around page, what's page 280. So 280 to like 300 or so. Almost 300. Here. Okay, so she has an argument with somebody, which, when the whole thing was ridiculous to me. Again, it has to do with people telling the truth or not, or hiding. And I get part of it's part of the story, and it, because people don't talk about it, things, and then there's a theme of her trying to be kind of separate and not get involved in things. And so I get it, but it still made me mad. Like, I was just like, I was rolling my eyes. Like, again, she's 18. I get it. So then something happens in the middle, which was a surprise, but I think that was well done. So I had no problem with that. And then after that next scene, she does something that she said she would never do. And that is always to me a hit for the character for me. If they do something that is not in their best interest and they do it anyway, just because they like, oh, whatever, you know, and I get so mad about that. I guess that's a personal thing. I really disliked what happened. Now, my other problem with this is that after that scene, and then then we get to then it suddenly, well, what just happened doesn't make any difference because something else happened. And I don't want to tell you what those things are, but the thing is that to me, I felt that's where the writing fell, or the book fell for me. It like dropped in star ratings. Because this was a solid 4 up until this point. I got about 300, to the 300 page mark. So I'm 50 pages from the end, and it lost another star. Right? So, it was just, it did not deliver for me. I liked the way it rounded out at the end, because again, we had 50 pages after the part I really disliked, where she kind of meandered and kind of made it come full circle and kind of wrapped it up. But I felt it didn't deliver. Like, again, I was really kind of upset what is considered kind of part of the climax. I mean, again, the part of it was good, and then the stuff right before it just, I don't know. I am rambling now, but I still would really recommend people reading this book because it was really good. And again, the things that upset me will not upset everybody. Clearly, there's some people who love this book, and they don't have the same issues as I do. On that, I think overall, I'm still super glad I picked this up. I am glad I read this. I don't know if I would pick up my own copy. Like, I keep thinking, like, maybe if I see it at a library book sale, I might pick it up, just because there were some really good scenes in here, and there were some things in there I think I'm going to think about later. Except it's just that those two things that happened within 20 pages of each other that really upset me. I'm just not sure. So anyway, I still think this is a great book. I see all that, why it's, but I can also see why some people don't like it. I don't like to think people calling it hard to read. I think it's really just one you have to concentrate on. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, as I said, it read really fine for me. It was just, I had to take more time and actually not have distractions, which is always good to do once in a while in your reading. So anyway, I did read that, and I'm really glad I did. I don't know if that came across with my nitpicking, but I really liked it. So after that, I picked up my Wolfe Rain and this book, Till Sudden Death Do Us Part. These are my 2 books on my TBR, so I'm knocking them out early, guys. But then I'm free to read whatever. So Simon R. Green, this is the Ishmael Jones mystery series. Well, okay, they're British manor mysteries with a paranormal twist, is how I put this. These are really fun. This is number 7 in the series, and this one is actually taking quite of a twist that I'm not sure what's going to happen. I have this fear he's going to end the series at some point here, and I'm like afraid this is the book, and I haven't looked it up, and I'm not letting myself find out if it is or not, just because of some of the themes going on in here. So Ishmael is, not a normal man. He was pretty much an alien. But it's different. It's just, I love this series. And again, they're really quick. They're short. I get them from the library always. first because they're such expensive little hardbacks. I try to wait for the paperbacks, but they don't come out that often. I'm behind. So I only have 4 of them in paperback. The other 5 and 6 have not come out in paperback yet, but number 7 is here now in hardback. If you like paranormal and you like country British manners and that have a paranormal twist, these are the books for you. Anyway, so I'm reading this. I'm only 50 some pages in. So this should have been a quick read. I expected to finish this on Friday because I figured I'd come home and I just read it, or even by Saturday morning. But my grandmother had to go to the ER on Friday, so my mom is staying with me while my grandmother's dealing with stuff. She just has an infection, so she's gonna stay at the hospital for a couple of days. And again, she's 95, and she's really her first time of being in the hospital, in quite a long time. So she's really pretty healthy, and so this infection kind of, it's serious enough that she has to be there for a few more days. So my mom's gonna be staying with me for a few more days. So I don't expect to get much reading done. I mean, this one I would like to get done today, but the way it's going so far, I don't know. Because I have to go, I have to go visit my grandma at the hospital, and I have to do things, and Anyway, so there's a lot of family stuff that way. So I didn't get as much reading done this week. I'm hoping, this is my first book I want to finish. And then I'll have my TBR open. So I am going to put up a video probably tomorrow. I have a library issue. So I have 4 books waiting for me at the library right now. So I'm going to pick them up today. But I also have all these books. Whoa. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to film a library book haul and probably post it on Monday. And then I might ask you guys which books I should focus on. Some of these they're not all big, they're not very big books. They're all books I just let myself finally get from the library. And I just kind of went a little crazy, and I'm giving myself June to read all these library books, and then I'm going to cut myself off again and go back to reading books I own. So anyway, but I do have a lot of these books. Some of these books I have to take back next week, so those are probably the ones I'll read first, and then the books I get, today, which you'll see on Monday, those are ones I'll probably wait till near the end, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on. That's probably the only videos I'll get up this week. I'm just being honest. I don't know how long my mom's going to be here. I don't know how long for sure my grandma's going to be in the hospital, but so we'll be back and forth, and I don't know how much reading I'll get done. So that is just kind of where that's at. And I haven't watched BookTube in days. It's one of those things. And anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at. Hey, how are you guys doing? How was your reading this last week? Are you guys reading anything good? Is there, are you guys, I know Shannon Ridler is doing the same thing. Are you guys going library crazy? For some reason, this month is end of May, and June has just been library, everything library, even though I have hundreds of books to read of my own. But anyway, I'm going to let myself have it for this month, and then we'll go back to reading more of my own stuff. So anyway, let me know how you guys are doing, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.